Unbelievably, we actually go through into the second map. Now, sAw's choice of Vertigo, and they lead 1-0. But it wasn't just a victory, Potter. It was domination, 16-7. And when you look at the statistics, this is the map that we probably expected them to have the most success in. So it's very possible they may even take the 2-0 lead.
Yeah, these are scary scenes for the start of this series. This long B05 for VP. They've got to kind of whip back into shape and keep their morale high. That first map was god-awful. Yukindar did not show up. He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders coming into this Vertigo. He's usually the point of contact towards that A, taking a lot of pressure. And he goes down right off the start, Vince. This is fast. Very fast. Roman finds another gush, and they're already in the site. The bomb's going down. VP, they've got nothing. No kit, no nades, no kills.
Great start on sAw again. Good grenade. Also tossed in. It's James that catches that flush on the head. And now with the rotation, desperately trying to clamber onto any remnants of their defense. It's looking pretty grim. Time's ticking away. Kicker has the first chance, misses out a couple of bullets. Buster's been put down to 3. And with no kit, no more grenades, they actually try and pull the plug. They pieced out of here. VP want to try and retain as many of these Kevlars as possible. That will be sAw claiming first blood again.
That was fast. sAw are coming out confident, swinging. They never let go of W there, Vince. Just insta-gushes coming through. And that round was so fast-paced, so decisive. VP, they've got to be left just scratching their heads. A full force does come through. That is a lot of utility. And just with how this map generally plays out, should buy VP some time.
sAw again, stranglehold over the map. VP, early pressure being applied. We mentioned it previously against Gambit. They had a very rocky first map. They ended up conceding it, then came back to win the series 2-1 in our semi-finals and denied Gambit the chance of retaining their championship. Of course, they took down DreamHack Open November. We will have a new king crowned at the end of this. How many people would have expected sAw? There's still a long way to go between that anointment and where we currently reside. But VP have done a good job of at least stalling away the initial aggression on sAw. 50 seconds to go, and they don't really have too much ground as a result.
Buster has a second flat. Oh, Yukindar just barely caught a glimpse. He's getting hunted down. Barely escapes. That smoke should buy him some time. Roman is just spamming through it, though.
30 seconds. Flashes and smokes now coming in. The VP actually secluding themselves away from these smokes, and it does allow them to play behind them and maybe wrap in and try and deny the bomb plant. This is getting a little bit awkward now for sAw. They can't be sure of anything, any positions from the CTs. 13 seconds to go. Some serious damage is now being inflicted. Post-plant comes in. It's at the cost of Muterus. But now this is where sAw should start to shine. They've been able to get the plant down. They've lumbered their way back onto ramp. And with no smokes, incendiaries, or flashes, VP will have to get straight up kills. They've got the first with a nice headshot onto Roman, but Yukindar can't add to that mark. And after a poor Inferno, at least he's got an early kill here. But already VP are pulling the plug again. They have Kevlar, they have a MAC-10, they have some upgraded pistols. There's plenty to save, but that is sAw successful twice in a row over on A side.
Just barely holding off the cavalry there. I thought Yukindar had done enough. That Deeg shot, he started spacing forward, but the rest of VP were a bit slow to the punch. Or they already had decided that they don't want to go for it. They just want to do some economic damage. But either way, they sat back and did not attempt this retake. They do get to come into this round with another attempt, though. Kicker has those double flashes again, setting up for Buster. They weren't able to catch any of the sAw members here last time, but they'll try it again. Sanji Oh, he does so much damage. He will go down to Muterus, though.
Yeah, Muterus very low, but does stand his ground. And keep in mind, on Inferno, he ended with 26 kills, 112 ADR, and a 1.67 rating.
Beast.
Absolutely outrageous.
Hold mouse 1 religion. Muterus leading the charge on that front. Double HE grenade towards that sandbag will give a lot of information. MVP with those noise cues booking it back towards this A. sAw haven't committed, and it looks like they will back out as well. They've done enough. Look at all the CTs at A. Muterus has already cleared out the B bomb site as well. This should be round secured for sAw. There's still the one flashbang on the back of Kicker. It could make things interesting, but very unlikely here.
Yeah, I'd have to be catching some crazy timing. Maybe we saw caught with nades out or clumped together in awkward positions, but it's actually a very good smoke that's been put down. It keeps the bulk of this re-engage at bay, eating up a lot of the time on the fuse of the bomb that's been ticking away. Picking up pace now. If VP even want to go for this, they could maybe save on to a couple of these Kevlar. It would soften the blow and the burden of their next buy, but they're going to go in for it. It's more a case of trying to soften up these targets so the bomb can do the rest. Force away some of these rifles from sAw. Won't really be sticking the landing though. Not a single player from sAw has been dealt a fatal blow, and VP concede for a third consecutive time.
Solid calling coming out once again from sAw. Things could have once again got dicey. They were headed straight into that stack. All the VPN members in A. But a quick pivot back towards that B was everything. James gonna go for his pick here. Very aggressive. But no luck. The smoke too strong.
It was yesterday in a very narrow victory where VP took down Gambit on Vertigo. It was 16-14. We felt as though Gambit could have very well secured that map and finished the semi-finals off. And VP looked very vulnerable on their CT side for a number of rounds. So we're going to have to wait and see if they can maybe string together a little bit of success and build that confidence back up, not just for themselves, but people watching at home right now. There'll be a lot of fans that are a little bit scared as to what they've witnessed thus far from VP. Dodo has not really been called upon. You can see he's got 0 kills and 0 ADR. The rest of his teammates have been doing all of the heavy lifting for him. And he's a player that you expect to see shine later on in the rounds. Buster, off angle. Arky won't be checking his angles. Actually does check it on the second time of asking. And Buster relocates for 2. He's done a great job. That's just what VP were hoping for.
That's huge. 2 kills, Buster. Oh! Sanji's good for us. Dodo almost found himself a gift. And they do take out Just. I got worried there, Vince. I could totally see a collateral casualty going down there. But Buster doing work towards those B stairs. And the first round on the board for VP. Things have been pretty streaky, though. If we just think back to Inferno as well, VP have absolutely struggled tonight of stringing rounds together. Your Kindar, that's a beautiful start. Perfect flashbang. Kicker does get bullied off. Flashbang absolutely catching him, but your Kindar's got full control right now. Dodo is so low, he's gonna limp away.
Aspect as well here, Potter, that because VP have literally just come off the back of the full regulation 30 rounds on Vertigo, Andra sort of done their homework. If they know some of these angles, Yakinda constantly will push down ramp. Has been talking, it's fallen into a 2v4. After all of the early aggression and success that VP had, it was always going to be a very difficult round for sAw to bring back up. Jane with the AWP. putting it down range and
Oh.
just gets 2 headshots through the smoke. Hold on a second. Although he's been battered down to 45 HP, he's making this way more costly than VP would have been expecting. And he still has time. He doesn't have to fully commit to pushing forward. The bomb is in an awkward spot. That's something that will be an issue for him. He has no grenades. He'd love to toss over a smoke or an incendiary towards that choke point. Just being very careful that he's not being flanked. Maybe looking for some grenades in the process. Jame now getting aggressive, has spotted the bomb. Knows he doesn't have to traverse too much more. Around the generators, gets caught and put down to 19. And that could have been a brutal moment for VP, but they just about hold on.
Wow, he was so paranoid about his flank there. Almost making this 2v1 look doable. Oh my God. Just the collateral damage there. Even Jame almost going down. VP survive. And sAw. That's it. They're just down to these pistols. That's a juicy grenade. Oh, it did nothing. Just the bullets, and Yakindar's gonna get caught.
Oh no, we've been here before on VP. They've lost to these fast, aggressive pistol hits. Sanji's expending so many of the bullets in the magazine. Down he goes, but Stododo with a FAMAS will help them out. 2v3, but an AK's been picked up, albeit without any Kevlar. The biggest issue, though, for sAw is that the bomb has been dropped in a really awkward spot. And it's out in the open where VP can clamber over on top of the site. They can keep all 3 of their players interested. Grenade now being tossed towards ramp. Actually bounces off the yellow scaffolding and back towards the CTs. So won't be doing any damage by itself. Arky, whittled away to 40 HP, has now been finalized by Jame, and Roman needs to have a huge round. It's the first of what needs to be 3. Still has some ammo, but only 4 bullets in the magazine. This could cause a bit of an issue. He needs to make each and every one of these bullets work. Realizing it, goes for the reload, has time, has no idea as to where that secondary player is over on side, which will be Jame with the AWP, who has him on the cross. It's a great effort by sAw. They're keeping that economy down, but VP have now won their 3rd in a row.
Oh, scary scenes for VP. Once again, just barely surviving there. Man, those pistols, the way the sAw just immediately started spacing onto Yakindar, definitely caught him off guard. And sAw are doing a fantastic job. VP's money is not in a good situation right now. They've been chipping away. Buster already has to use the smoke early, catches a grenade as well. And again, early aggression for VP on this A ramp. This is definitely going to help them have some defense, but Yakindar, they both just go down. The timing.
Stagnated that push so well. They waited for those key flashes and smokes to have depleted. And then the double wide swing. And this is what I mean. If they've done their homework, they'll know that VP constantly went for this early ramp aggression with Yakindar and Kicker time and time again against Gambit. They had a lot of success with it early until Gambit started to make a couple of adaptations. And so the fact that sAw already pincering in and pressuring these angles suggests to me they've done their due diligence, and that may not factor too well for VP. They've been hanging by a thread these last few rounds, and that's why they've had to instantly tap out and go for the save. They're in no position to lose any more weapons.
sAw, they know it. They're on the hunt right now. VP absolutely on survival mode. sAw's not hunting quite as aggressively as I initially thought they were. It looked like they had a hunting pack party going out. But VP will be able to survive with those 3 weapons, and you're right, Vince. sAw have absolutely done their homework. They're going through crossing their T's and dotting their I's right now, regaining this A ramp control. And I do gotta say, this timing with this duo towards this A ramp was completely off in how they got that point of contact. But oh, the B aggression definitely works out for Kicker and Buster. Just a double push.
Very aggressive take. Jame, though's lost his head. Just make sure that that AWP will play no further part in this role, at least not on the CT side of things. Goes in for more, but Kickert's timing just getting there a split second before just anticipated. Post plant should be coming into play. Incendiary toss to the back of the site. They now know where Sanji is. They've dealt the fatal blow to him. And a post plant falls upon us. Dodo's being wrecked through the smoke, but still has 24 HP. Switches across to the AWP. He is the primary, of course, but he comes out wide. And Yakinda is laid in wait, embraces him with the AK. He's anticipating a second player to be here, staying there the whole time. And Yakinda, so important, an integral moment in the round, takes it down. VP retain 3. And they can trade up to some AKs and the AWP.
The A aggression has not been working out for VP this time around. They immediately pivot, go for that B stairs aggression. 3 VP players to start out with. Just allowed them to freely rotate over to this A as soon as some action went down, and they're just able to make this retake work. Yakinda are able to make that flank. Double ops. Buster has busted it out. Finds another clean kill while blind on the Muterus. And this is the strongest look that VP have had on the CT side of Vertigo. Buster just doing work with that secondary. And if not, Kicker just popping flashes for him time and time and again. And Yakindar and James towards this A. James hasn't been having a fun time on this angle so far.
Yeah, Justice had his number previous round at least. Is 5-1, just hasn't had a huge amount of impact. Been forced away from utility for the most part. Speaking of which, Sanji's molly is well timed. Forces back sAw, who are anticipating maybe a flash peek, or James getting it up close. 4-4, much closer start than Inferno factored in. 40 seconds, sAw faked. Had the sound cues as if they were rotating back through ramp, but VP haven't really budged too much. James is still here, slightly different angle, but it's the same idea, and he gets flashed and smoked out of position. Incendiary straight down, smoke behind it, cordoning off these areas, and have sAw bit off more than they can chew. Have they taken too much time to get in this position? I don't know if it facilitates the bomb plan or any success at this stage. They need some rapid headshots. And as well as the utility was used from sAw on Inferno, you could say the same for VP here. They've completely strangled and choked out sAw in their approach, and they already have to go back and save.
There were so many AK bullets just shooting off that entire end of the 20 seconds into that round. But VP, they're able to just hold on to that utility for so long. It came down to the wire, but the smokes, the Molotovs buying all the space VP needed to land those shots. And James, he's good for 2. This time, bringing that sniper rifle towards this mid area. And Muterus gives him a tasty shoulder. Clips that. Dodo will try his luck. He's got the AK, though. The one hero AK on the side of sAw.
Could be a chance for James. Switched a little bit too early, and that does cost Sanji his life. Now, it's not a position you can jump up by yourself, so he knows there's a secondary player there. Hence him switching to the AK. AWP will be in his peripheral vision, though. He will be taking it outside the round. Now, we saw them go for double AWP setups yesterday a ton of times and had varying degrees of success. Seems like VP are starting to wake up, and sAw may be running out of steam. Kicker, big headshot onto Muterus. You've lost any potential power play in terms of primary weapons. Have now got the AK back in the hands of Just, but Buster goes in for 2 more, finishing off with a 3K, and VP finally have a little bit of daylight between themselves and sAw. 6-4 lead.
Strong start. Heating up, Buster. He's been good for it. I would like to see James starting to liven up a little bit. He is being mobile. We saw him towards that short A and towards this middle. sAw need to figure out a way to isolate him. He's back again towards this mid. Just is going very aggressive towards this A. is just Yakindar on A right now. VP mainly doubled up at this B and towards this middle area. Yakindar is about to have a lot of traffic come his way. Just has bought a lot of ground for himself.
Timing actually affords him to cross. I'm not sure Yakindar will realize this. He may get caught with the smoke out. Fortunately, though, smoke does plume right next to him. There is a gap through there. However, with flashes being put in consistently and a Molotov behind it, at the bare minimum, sAw get a plant out of the round. However, Sanji through the smoke threads into one, and he'll be looking for more. That does give them a way back into the round here. Plenty of utility. They're lining up for the retake smokes, fending offside, trying to put a line of smokes up around the ramp additionally. Keep the T's unaware as to the presence for VP. These are very good post plants. Smokes and utility that's already been tossed in, but the time is dwindling away. Muterus tries to spray through the smoke. It's a tap. They're not sticking on the site. They need to get back on there right now, and there's just a barrage of bullets firing their way towards VP. They push through the smoke, and that's going to be good enough. VP will explode with the bomb. Everybody dies in the process, but sAw get the round.
Can we just get a replay of all those shots being shot off into that smoke? What a wild round. People were dying without seeing anyone. I like the last play of just pushing through the smoke and facing off right then and there. Muterus making the big boy play. But what a wild round. Just a massacre. sAw, fantastic stuff. This is fast. This is aggressive. Roman trying to push James off this angle, and Sanji. They will back off a bit. But again, that's good utility burned.
Disjointed on the retake. They got the perfect nades, but they didn't push behind it and take their advantages. And we'll see if VP can learn from that. The early aggression, as you highlighted, Potter, was solid, but it feels like sAw toyed with the idea of getting really aggro and then kind of decided against it. And so for all of the little inroads that they made, they've now been filled in by VP, but Yakindar's caught. No one's there to help him. His teammates all left him, and it's a great Molotov tossed in. This forces Sanji away. James just has to watch as the site gets planted on again. They couldn't get it done when they had the player advantage last round. Unlikely they get it done this round. I think they're already saving 3 plays over on B.
Yeah, they've already surrendered this round, and man, Yakindar, he was able to kind of bluff it last round. That there were more than just himself on this A. This time the jig is up. sAw aggressive in middle. Knew that the defenders would have been somewhat mobile and have to respect the idea that that push could have come through. So then they just brute force contact their way out at that A ramp, and Yakindar is just caught all alone. Simple but effective coming through from sAw. VP will have a strong buy coming into this one regardless. But that's, I believe, 3 rounds in a row for sAw? 2 rounds in a row?
Yeah, it's the last 2 that they've picked up now. Both on A. Similar aggressive stance, similar situations. This time VP decided not to battle until the bitter end. Now, it should be mentioned that 3 of the 6 rounds that sAw have got were off the back of the pistol. So for the most part, VP have had the better of it when it comes to straight up rifles. Buster, different angle. We've seen a lot of success when he's taken the initiative. There's one. Oof. Tries to spin in. A lot of damage to Roman, though. Buster has done his job. He's forced back the T's again.
So important that Roman forces that issue and gets that trade. It should make the defenders kind of have to split up a bit. Yakindar is in a prime location here, though.
pressure being applied elsewhere. Jame, one of the slowest peaks that sAw have gone in for. Jame will gobble down that kill every day of the week, and this makes that Yakinda position that little bit more deadly as well. Typically where it will end up being an issue is if you're left on your own in that spot, it will go checked. But when time is dwindling, when Jame has impact and presence being applied elsewhere, it's not really an angular check. It's not really required anymore because Yakinda's just backed off. That does allow them, though, to push straight onto Jame and take him down. They still have control over the bomb. Mutrus will get it down successfully, so hold on for a second. This looked like it was going to go convincingly the way of VP. Now it's a 2-on-2. Mutrus has last been spotted on the side. There's the spray for the first, but death from above. Yakinda holds his resolve. It's a very costly round, though.
That's a round W for sAw. It's not going to reflect it on the scoreboard, but for their morale, for the economy, it checks off the list on everything else. VP should have dominated that round. They needed the cushion. Jame getting the easiest shots of his life. Should have been round secured, but just the timing, man. He gets pushed as Yakinda gets off the Aang. And sAw, they're going to have a very strong buy coming into this with sDodo. We haven't seen his AWP coming in, but just an opportunity there. Dang, I don't know what Jame was waiting for. I thought he was surely going to peek into exactly sDodo's crosshair, but something made him pause. Something made him pause, and he survives because of it.
That Guardian Angel 6th Sense keeps him alive. Could be a very important moment, not just in this round, but this half. Hell, even this map. A marathon of a grand finals has already seen sAw take the first map, putting a lot of pressure down onto VP on their CT side, but Jame in a slightly different angle. Molotov in, flash is great, and Mutrus will follow it up with a big headshot. The good damage inflicted back from Yakinda. It's good to see him step back up after a very poor first map. Only 7 kills, but it feels like each and every one of them has been incredibly impactful for VP, and he could be adding to that mark. Bomb gets dropped down. Mutrus goes with it as he gets silenced. 40 seconds left, though, for sAw to try and re-emerge victorious. Post-plant comes into effect as none of the CTs can deal with just, and with another smoke being put down, they're not sure where the re-engage may come in. The retaliation will be coming from the Spanish element of sAw as he takes the first point of contact. Still 81 HP. Hiding in the smoke. Flashbang through. The aggression. Oh, he nearly misses out on that frag. Has to go back in for seconds. Bit off more than he could chew, but now Justice putting down the damage elsewhere. Leaving on sDodo. First flick is good. He knows the bomb is being defused. He fakes it, but no! Sanji sticks on! Pros don't fake and VP get an 8.
Pros don't fake, Vince. Wow. What a round. What a round. I cannot believe Sanji has the galls to just stick that right then. The noise cue, it certainly would have shook most players, but Sanji just sticks it. He knows the AWP player will be a little bit more reluctant to check that. But man, sAw, I thought they absolutely deserved that round. Somehow, some way, VP are able to save it. Sanji gets pushed off this mid angle. Oh, they're going very aggressive. And just backing away. We've seen this before.
I think one of the reasons they like going for this play is it will typically force Jame away from side with his AWP to go around middle instead. So you can see instantly sDodo's gone into side. This is typically being Just's playground, but he is the first casualty. As sDodo goes back into the smoke, the timing could not have been more brutal for him, but Yakinda, he'll gladly take that kill. It puts them 2 players in advantage with 50 seconds. They're coming out, spilling onto the site. Sanji up close with the AUG, sprays down for the first, and that should be the round. That should be the half finalized. And it's looking good for VP. Mutrus is being tagged and slowly chipped away, down to 38. Arky alongside him on 24. No control over the bomb. And now Mutrus' life has been deemed forfeit. Arky behind enemy lines has been spotted. and he's being fragged any second now. It wasn't going to be Jane that pulled the trigger, but VP certainly will. They'll lead in coming through into the second half at 9-6.
Boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Try the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la.
Well, Potter, we wanted a few answers to how VP were going to factor on Vertigo. I think we've got them. They're here to play through. They're not going to roll over for sAw. They're not going to let this fairy tale ending get here just yet. They're battling out. And now on the T side, they're pushing straight down towards the B side of the map. But they have paused for thought. They have a bit of concern as to a potential stack taking shape. So instead, they're holding fire.
Yeah, VP. They finally shown up to this grand final. sAw had a strong T start. A strong T side, in fact. But VP able to get 9 rounds on the board. This is a slow start, but look at the amount of utility they have. Yukindar, he's found a point of contact, but Roman to the rescue. Doubling up. Sidoto's got to back away. This is going to be some sort of a set piece, B play. We've got 2 Molotovs, 2 flashbangs, 3 smokes. Just is going to fall away from this angle.
Going to be a bit more proactive now. He's checking down on the stairway. Molly starting to singe his toes, but still getting one. Springs back in for a second. I have no idea how he's got 2 kills from there, but he softened up VP low enough that sAw could come in and clean up the rest. Excellent second pistol.
Beautiful shots coming out from Justin. The amount of pressure he was under, so blind. Flames at his feet as well. That execute was strong stuff from VP, but sAw landing some killer shots. So it'll be a conservative approach from VP. They weren't able to get the bomb down. Looks like most of them are coming towards this middle. This should be a farm fest. Muterus, MP9, good grenades, gonna go down. He's good for Sanji. Money. Money in the bank, Vince. And I thought sAw, I mean, again, their first half, it was fantastic. Even that last round, man, so much action towards that A. Arky going down without a frag. He did so much damage. I'm glad to see that sAw are starting off strong coming through in the second half. This will be the first test, though. VP, not as good of a buy as I think they would want, but it should be just enough. Oh, Dodo's so aggressive. I wonder if he fell on accident or if he purposely fell, but either way, he gets taken out early.
Yeah, whether intentional or otherwise, it still ends up being a mistake. And VP now, with that player advantage, are looking to try and rip back over on the B side of the map, although Just gets the kill, it's not clean. But there's a second. He's had so much impact in these early rounds on CT side. Softened up the targets once again, Jane being blown up, down to 26. And that will give him second thoughts about pushing through on B. Actual fact, that's forced VP's hand to head back over on the A side of the map. They have ramp in their targets.
Damn, Just. He's stepping up to the plate, having those hero moments twice now. He's gotten a double kill. The second, just him having no business getting it. And Muterus, this play, the ladder push from middle. This should surely be a checkmate. Ooh, James. I think he's just spotted him, though.
They spotted him, but you see the impact it has on the T's. They slow it down again. They don't want to fully commit to the site just yet until they're sure they're not about to get pincered. And with 20 seconds, they now have to just commit. You can't mess about any longer, VP. You've got to get on the site. There's two of the remaining three players here already. Muterus is making moves from B. Post plant will fall upon us, though. And although VP are all weakened, all below 50% of their HP, they do have post plant positions. And they do have the AKs on their side. Utility is running dry on both teams. There are kits for the CTs, and there's a flash for Sanji. Now being tossed in, pushing behind the flashbang, nothing forthcoming. Sanji taking the tight angle, takes off the head of Muterus. That could be the round-defining moment. James is staying alive on ramp. There's not much time left. Roman needs to go in for the kills if he's even going to attempt it, and he decides against it all. VP will pick up 10.
Solid round coming through for VP. I think things could have gotten a little bit better for sAw. The AK decided to go short A towards that scaffolding. If he held the long line while either the FAMAS or the MP9 went instead, maybe this round could have looked a little bit different. But instead, that retake, it will fail. And VP, they were so low, Vince. Just hardly any HP. They make it work, though.
Aggression, but being met by smoke and met by bullets. sAw that strike first. Yakinda gets punctured through the smoke. And that'll be a welcome reprieve for sAw, who have been under a lot of pressure these last couple of rounds to get the first pick, force VP on the back foot. I'll do them the world of good.
They have that A ramp control. Definitely some much needed breathing room, but as I say that, Buster, he's found a lot of ground, a lot of room, and that flashbang gets him in the sight, and he's been doing so well defending this B, but he goes down. Just a little bit of damage, but no kills. 3 versus 3. That HE grenade might entice them to make this retake happen, as Dodo's so aggressive.
Ooh, into the spider's web. He plunges himself, but he at least takes one with him. Able to cut a few of those threads away. And things are unraveling now for VP, but Kicker stands tall for 2 before Arky puts the final nail in the coffin. Finding the bomb has the kit enough time, but sAw lose 4. And although VP can come back in with a buy of sorts, sAw are going to be down to their last few pennies and dollars.
Yeah, but they'll be happy with that. That was a recovery in itself, a strong retake. It was instant too, Vince. It all started with that HE grenade landing a kill, and instantly Stododo getting involved, initiating all of it. Everyone's broke across the board in the server right now, Vince. We got 2 Tech 9s, we've got MP9s. Yakindar, he's going aggressive again. And this time it's Yakindar in the spot of where Roman was last time. He's going aggressive. Nice flashbang, good headshot.
Not snatching at this though, VP. They get the opening pick and they don't fully commit behind it. They know more threats are looming. Roman, preemptive smoke down, knowing that Molotovs could be headed his way. And some flashes and incendiaries also tossed out for good measure. So sAw doing a good job, even though they've lost the first player, of forcing VP back, but expending a lot of utility in the process. Muterus is taking this opportunity, though, to try and wrap around the back, to get early intel, to be the pain in the backside. Additionally, if they feel like the full committal will come in for VP, he can quickly wrap into close proximity with the MP9 and maybe shred some of these players. But does he get that early intel? Will it be too little too late as they all wide swing out? One by one, VP plunge onto the site, plunge some bullets into the heads of Arky and Just. And although that wraparound play was always on the cards, it's only going to deal the fatal blow onto Jane. 2 MP9s in this position, far from ideal. VP will be firm favorites to take this round by the scruff of the neck and convert it. And I go back to the economic situation. sAw have very little in surplus, very little cash left. 1-for-1 trade will not be good enough for sAw, especially considering that Muterus has been tagged down to 38. Tickles the bomb again, tries to get Sanji out into the open. There are kits around, but Muterus' spray lets him down, and VP will take the 2-round lead. But more importantly, VP's money is so much better than sAw's.
Yeah, VP winning that battle and winning it strong. It was such awkward scenes because both players with MP9s ended up being the flank. Timing not in their favor and Buster just securing everything as well. VP have crossed that hurdle now. They are in full control moving forward until sAw come through in the next gun round. It might even take them 2 rounds here to get to that point. Decisions have to be made. Looks like they will full save, perhaps. We haven't seen the strong starts. We saw double AWPs for VP on their CT side. We haven't quite seen it yet for sAw. And Yakindar, he's starting to heat up, Vince. That's a scary, scary prospect. Just how Yakindar, no matter how his stats are looking, he's still going through the motions, doing his job. And eventually, just how skilled he is. He's already caught up.
Yeah, he was always going to be that sleeper agent. This is where you're expecting a massacre to take shape. They get one, but it's just the MP5 on Yakindar that falls down. That's fine. That's the expendable gun. They have their rifle still in tow. Arky, oh, that's unfortunate timing. You could hear the footsteps to his right-hand side. And VP, as expected, now take a 3-round lead. Daylight is further and further extending away from sAw. And with Train coming up next, for me, that's probably on paper the most one-sided map in this best of 5 in favor of VP. So if you get your Yakindar starting to fire on all cylinders and you head to Train, that will be a very rough ask for sAw. So I feel like there's even more pressure here on Vertigo going back in their favor. But they decided not to go for a full investment again. This is brutal. This is not the time where you want to be darting in with 2 potential saves.
Yeah, as I said, their money situation, it was absolutely broken. They had no choice but to save twice. They want those sniper rifles out. And the CCs, we've seen some crazy stuff with these guns. Muterus, he might be able to trade this on Sanji, but he decides to go towards this ladder room. We've seen Muterus slip and pass, and being in this flank position, he hasn't been able to do much with it. But VP, I don't think they have any idea he's here. Oh, James has an inkling. Oh, deleted.
Yeah, both teams didn't really occupy middle too often, especially VP, though. They seem way more one-dimensional, whether they're hitting A or B. Just keeping an eye on those ladders as everything else is starting to fall into place. The CZs are being picked off one by one. Yakinda with 2, Buster with 2. Yakinda may be able to add a 3rd to the mark, and indeed he shall. A full house of kills, a 4-round lead, but as you touched on, Potter, these last 2 saves have all been to this moment. They're going to have snipers if they want them. They should have full utility. They need to make it work, though.
Desperate times. This is where we need a hero to step up. Just Muterus. They were explosive on Inferno. Stododo as well. And there are no sniper rifles, Vince. They still didn't have enough. They decide to go for 5 rifles and full kit of utility. Stododo making his way. That reload sound, Yakindar's absolutely heard that.
Not faring too much better either. For sAw, Yakindar straight in with 2, and Sanji pummels Roman. They had the option to go for an AWP, but it would have been a glass cannon on Stododo. They opted to go for a bit of utility alongside it, but it doesn't really seem to have mattered. And VP just walk up ramp as one united force, absolutely slaughter sAw. They have got to save again. And this is now VP just a couple steps away from tying up these grand finals at 1-1.
VP are dominating this A ramp, Vince. Yakindar has absolutely showed up. This is going to be tough to save. Just, he's going sniffing around the shoulder. Oh, that's a good adjustment. A nice kill onto Kicker, but he does go down. Arky, he's about to be pinched as well. And Buster, he's good for it. Whew. sAw were already broke before. They really needed these last 2 guns, Vince. Now more decisions have to be made. Do they save and allow VP to have that 15th, or do they have another scrappy buy? They're going to be conservative here. They want to have a full gun round. They want to have that full force and showcase exactly what their game plan can do for them. Last round even, you know, that indecisiveness. Stododo going towards that sandbag late. These kinds of small details have caught sAw off.
That's kind of my concern. They waited 2 rounds to get a full rifle. They just instantly got destroyed off a very one-dimensional, straightforward push. I can respect that they're waiting to play for potentially overtime to try and save 6 rounds in a row. But when you look at how all the chips have fallen down so far, it does paint a pretty bleak picture. The 3 rounds they've got on this half, 2 of them were straight off the back of the pistol. And then the 3rd one was the 4th round of the half. So, I mean, in terms of rifles, it's been so one-sided to VP. Once they've established themselves, you can see their money so good before the end of this round, even if sAw somehow bring it out of the fire. They're playing different angles. Stododo hasn't been in here too many times. There's one, but the CZ only musters up the strength for 1 kill. And in return, VP batter down 3, make it 4, make it 5. 15-9, 6 map points.
If Sanji doesn't get rid of this Galio and pick up an AK with 12k, I don't know what's going on, Vince. He's gonna hold on to it. The man is just, he's a bank. He's a literal bank. AWP will come out. It is on the back of Just. He's got a beautiful spawn. He's going aggressive towards this B. He's got the angle. He's blind. He's got to get pushed back. Good utility coming out from VP. Ooh. Just doesn't have an opening. He will find one. He's burning alive. He gets pinched. Arky, he's all alone. Oh, the team damage. The collateral. VP dominating what might be the last round.
It's looking like it will be the last round here, Potter. Roman, 1 on 4. Position is known. He's rattled off a few bullets. He at least will put down Kicker for his trouble. But VP, very comfortable map in the end. It was close for the first 6 or 7 rounds, and then they just took over. They made it theirs and showed us all why this is a map that you cannot take them lightly on. Even though we were a bit sketchy at the first, Potter, about their performance yesterday against Gambit, I think they've definitely put in a fair few fixes, shall we say, towards their T-half, and they got the job done. But we still got potentially 3 more maps to go. So we'll go to a break. When we rejoin us, we'll be in that 3rd all-important map of Train.
VP's pistol stats may not have improved, but the fact is the scoreline couldn't have been further away from the first map. A dominant performance coming out of Virtus.pro, and honestly, it seemed like sAw completely fell off the map, Blair. It just didn't look too good.
I wouldn't necessarily say they fell off the map, but it felt like they kind of started to get a little intimidated, I felt like, and it was in a perfect conjunction, so to speak, with the way VP was starting to wake up. We saw Yakinder towards the end of that map. He was starting to win those duels. He was struggling in the first map, even in the first half as well. And then, yeah, VP just working as a pack, nothing too elaborate, just, you know, triple peeking, double peeking these individual duels. And that second half just kind of fell apart from them. It's good to see VP waking up, and it's kind of interesting, right? Same trend, pretty much the same trend we saw yesterday against Gambit. They got trashed on map 1 and then came back and kind of woke up on the second map here.
Well, that's the thing that almost confuses me, Maui, is like it seems like their own choices are the ones that are going poorly at this stage. We do have Train obviously coming up next as well, one that they had some real troubles on versus Gambit, but it seems like the second they get into the groove a little bit, they just look untouchable.
Yeah, Virtus.pro, I feel like it's a little back and forth with both teams just winning on each other's picks. It's maybe slightly due to a slow start from VP, but once they got rolling in that game, the 1-2 punch of Buster and Yakinder was way too much to handle. I feel like if we look at some of the kills here from Buster, once he busted out this double op, no pun intended actually, it was just lights out at this B bomb site. Really, there was no way that they could handle him. And even on the retakes, doing pretty well on top of that. And flipping over to the T side, Yakinder was just lights out after a while. He had a definitely slow start. It feels like every first map of a series, Yakinder, you gotta wake up, buddy, because that is just what we get on map 2 is such a drastic difference.
Well, that's the other thing, Blair. Going into the next map, he plays a truly pivotal role on this VP side of things. Like yesterday when we saw him play versus Gambit, as said, up until today, he was having his worst map of the entire year. He beat that earlier, but now going into Train, do you think it's important that he's got warmed up?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think he's going to be more than ready. I feel like Train is a very, very comfort pick coming in here for the side of VP. The individuals are popping off as well. I haven't seen much from sAw on Train, so it is a bit of a question mark. So maybe, hopefully, they have a few tricks up their sleeves. We saw some pretty cool stuff coming out from them on Dust 2 and Inferno. So maybe they can at least put up a fight over here. But yeah, for the side of Vertigo, it's just unfortunate it kind of played out that way, considering, if I'm not mistaken, it was sAw's map pick.
For sure. Well, I'm going to hope for some Stidodo highlights coming into this map, and I think they're going to need them because this is a very solid map for Virtus.pro. After the break, we will find out who's going to take the lead in this best of 5 series and who will need to make the comeback.